You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Greetings all, Coach Jen, Healthy Critters radio producer here. Our intrepid podcast hosts, Tigger and Patty, are out and about gathering content for upcoming episodes, so sit back and enjoy this previously aired masterpiece from the audio vaults.
Healthy Critters Radio is brought to you by BioStar US. Find them online at biostarus.com.
On today's show, we discuss how latex in arena and track footing may affect equine respiration. In Tigopedia, we explore the multidrug resistance mutation called MDR-1. In Critter Nutrition, we examine the use of Omeprazole for ulcers. And in Coffee Clatch, we conduct our celebrity pet match. Listen in. I'm Tigger.
I'm Patty.
And I'm Coach Jen, producer of this here crazy circus. And welcome to Healthy Critters Radio.
Woohoo!
The twice a month party that is Healthy Critters Radio, brought to you by BioStar US. We talk about all things animal, pet, healthy mentally and physically for them. And today, poor old Tigger and poor old Patty, co-hosts of our show, didn't know what to talk about.
Uh-oh.
Which is really weird.
That's
Yeah,
dangerous.
we do.
Because
We
then,
do.
Yeah, that leaves it up to me.
Yes.
So
And?
regular listeners will know that whenever that happens,
Oh, no.
I have a tendency to put Tigger and Patty on the spot.
Never.
Yeah. And Tigger, for non-regular listeners, Tigger and Patty both go to Wellington, Florida in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
Patty, because she is a professional dressage competitor and trainer.
Right.
And Tigger, because she's a professional nutrition guru, and she goes down there to visit and meet clients and help them keep their horses happy and healthy. So you guys hit the road a lot, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. So today, what I want to know, when you are on the road, what foods must you have when you are on a road trip for the human? Start, Patty.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I have been eating keto for the last 2 years. So I try to do higher fat stuff and some protein and vegetables. So I always have some sort of nuts or cheese or berries or fruit or something like that. But just generally cheese and nuts.
Nuts and cheese for Patty. So you have the big bucket of mixed nuts from the Mega Box store and a case of cheese sticks. Is that about describe it?
Yes, and I do like to have an avocado on board.
Now, how do you travel with an avocado? I'm a real avocado amateur. The only thing I know about avocado is that I can buy it in a teensy weensy itsy bitsy single serving size.
Mm-hmm.
That it's already made into guacamole that I can put on a sandwich. And that's the extent of my avocado knowledge. How does one travel with avocado? Because they don't really like to be exposed, do they?
They don't. You got to keep that airtight. I mean, for me, I always put one in a Ziploc bag if I open one. But everything when I go and do clinics, I go to more than one location in my regular clinics when I go throughout Texas, and we have a cooler, and by the end of the day, it's generally fine, but I wouldn't go beyond a day and a half because it can start to get angry. But I just put them in a Ziploc or an airtight container.
There you go. So the nuts and cheese gal. Alrighty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tigger, how about you?
I am a peanut butter, almond butter,
chocolate milk. Sorry, King. Sorry. It's your turn. I'm so sorry.
Perfect for dipping pieces of chocolate in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Drinking lots of water, and sometimes I'll make some sandwiches ahead of time for the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, they're egg salad from our own chickens.
Oh, I love egg salad.
I do love egg
It's
salad.
the best.
I do.
And I have one of these coolers that plugs into the back of my Subaru.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great because while the car is running, it's staying cold.
Yeah.
And because I'm always carrying raw dog food around. It's kind of a necessity.
Kind of a necessity,
And then you don't have to dump out the water from ice. You know, it's great. So I actually don't eat a lot when I'm traveling, like to keep my stomach kind of light. But I find peanut butter and almond butter that I could be just driving and just take a spoon and lick a.
Oh, you do it. You harken back to your 4 years old. Just stuff the spoon in the jar and suck it off.
Yeah. Harken is the best word I've heard in a long time. Tigger, what are you harkening now?
Yeah, harkening now.
I'm dipping me some chocolate in my peanut butter, almond butter.
Tigger, when you're on the road, are you more prone to eating on the go, or are you more prone to stopping to take a break and have a meal?
Never.
You're just straight through.
No, I stop, walk the dogs, get gas, get back in the car, go.
How about you, Patty?
I don't stop and
I
eat
go
until
constantly.
I'm in the hotel.
I go and eat constantly.
Constantly. Okay.
I do. Well, yeah, but I go. I don't really like to stop. I'm not big on stopping.
Okay. So, final question. Tigger, you're going to go up
Is this
first.
Jeopardy?
Yes, it is.
I was going to say,
How much do you want to wager?
this is the lightning round.
The lightning round. For extended on the road efforts like winter in Wellington, what are the foods that you most miss because you're not at home?
Oh, definitely the eggs from my chickens.
Okay.
The fresh greens from we have a winter garden. So as long as it's not, zero in this little greenhouse, we can grow greens. So I miss things like that. But basically everything that we have in Virginia, you can get in Florida, Publix or Whole Foods.
Right. Yeah.
So are you prone to going to the grocery store and making food versus going out to restaurants for all of your meals?
I don't go out at all.
Somehow I would have guessed that.
I could have answered every one of her questions. Why are we talking to her? And she still hasn't mentioned chocolate milk. I'm just going to put that out there.
I do love chocolate milk.
You do.
Nothing wrong with it.
You and Peter.
I like eating at home. I like eating food that I know I prepared. I've selected. It sounds like I'm a control freak, but guess I am. I just
Satisfying. I get it.
You know what you know what you know. You know what you want to know. You know what you want to eat. Same thing with your dogs and your horses.
Yes.
How about
you should start a whole food company.
Yeah, you should.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When my children were younger and I was in Wellington, I really didn't like to go out so much because I just wanted to be home kind of doing their thing. Now that I'm older and I do like to go out, there's tons of really good restaurants, in Wellington. But it kind of depends for me because I really like to be in bed by 8:30, 8:35 at the latest. 8:40, that's super late. Yeah. So, but I like a variety of both. I mean, I enjoy going out, but I wouldn't want to do it every night.
Okay. I lied. That was not the final question. This is the final question. Patty gets to go first this time because you tied on Final Jeopardy. Now we have a tiebreaker.
Okay. This is the silver lightning round now.
This is the silver lightning round.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
So I know when I go on the road with my horses, whether it's for a day trip or a weekend camping or whatever it's going to be, there are certain things that I must bring for my pony. Even it's not necessarily stuff he needs to have, but that I want him to have. One of which is always a giant bag of carrots and probably a bag of apples too, because I just feel good feeding him those things a lot. Mm-hmm. Is there anything like that whenever you hit the road with your horses, you have to make sure you have that for your horse because you want him to have it?
Well, I do it a little bit out of necessity because I've traveled so many years with horses long distances. I always bring carrots. I love that, or apples, but I tend to go to carrots because I like them. I liked it. A very good friend of actually Tigger and her name is Peta Wiley, and she runs a beautiful barn in Troy, Virginia. She told me years ago when she would go out and do night check, she would bring carrots out. And if the horses didn't eat a carrot, she knew something was wrong. And I took that to such, like, I was like, damn, that's just amazing. So when I travel with my horses, I give them, I try to give them carrots or an apple, every day as, after they're done their ride. So I like to have the carrots because I want to make sure that they're still eating and interested. So I definitely have that. But the only other thing that I have to have, if I'm traveling a long distance or if I'm going somewhere that's so, now that I'm in Texas, if I would bring horses all the way to Florida, I would want to bring water from home and sort of transition them into where they're going next.
Well, I'm going to speak from a dog perspective because I no longer travel with horses. I always have to have raw bones.
So what is your favorite? Because there's lots to choose from.
Well, the raw bones for the dogs are like knuckle bones, big, decent sized marrow bones, leg bones.
And now I'm guessing these are beef?
Yes.
Well,
they're
there's
from
options,
they're
right?
from
Not
our chickens. You're from our chickens. Just breed some big chickens.
And I usually will bring some chicken feet, but the bones, because after a long drive and the dogs are in the hotel and they allow me to relax because they're just lying there gnawing on their bones, getting the marrow out, happy as little clams, and I'm comatose on the bed.
So everyone is happy.
Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy.
So if you've got favorites on the road foods for you or your pets or your horses, we would love to hear about them. And how should they tell us about those, Tigger?
Well, send us a postcard at BioStar US, 1 Cleveland Street, Gordonsville, Virginia, 22942. I just have to mention that we got a very nice comment on our Facebook page, Healthy Critters Radio, from a listener in Denmark.
Really?
Oh, wonderful.
And she loves the show. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, cool.
So you could also post on our Facebook page or on healthycrittersradio.com.
Da-da-da-da. And now coming up, it's the round table. Dun, dun, dun. Yay.
I guess I should start this off.
You should start this. This is a pretty heavy sounding topic, Tigger. So let's go to it.
It is. So a study, this one is published at least online December 17th, 2019, showing that natural latex rubber could be a significant allergen capable of triggering severe asthma in some horses. So the lead researcher, his name is Sam White, and he carried out the study for the Royal Agricultural University and the University of Nottingham in Britain. He found that natural rubber latex was among the most surprising and significant of several new allergens present in the dust horses breathe. So that means that latex is really, really fine. White used advanced computing power to assess more than 400 potential allergens in more than 130 severely asthmatic and healthy horses, working with research groups in Switzerland, France, Canada, and the United States. The research revealed many similarities with human allergic asthma and confirmed previously unlinked bacteria, fungi, mite, and pollen allergens. But the allergy risk from latex was the standout finding. Quote, the high level of dust associated with training on these surfaces has already been linked with chronic bronchitis, inflammation, and oxidative stress in riding instructors, and latex has long been associated with a variety of respiratory conditions in humans. These early results show it could be linked to respiratory problems in horses too. Antibodies specific for proteins derived from latex were identified in some of the horses affected by severe asthma. The researchers in their paper published in the journal Scientific Reports said further work is required to establish the exposure levels. At present, exposure should be considered a potential risk to the respiratory health of the horse. So what is interesting is that 14% of horses in the Northern Hemisphere are affected by severe asthma. And in another article that was related to this, the researchers pointed out that horses can be breathing latex from tires. So horses in urban areas where lots of cars are parked, they're, little did I know, latex in tires, in riding surfaces, on training surfaces. And I thought this was very compelling research.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is very compelling because it was a really well done study, and they didn't just rely on someone observing the horse. Is it coughing more or less, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
They took blood samples and they really did it very carefully. From my point of view, at least, it just makes sense that a lot of the things that make a human develop allergic asthma would make a horse develop allergic asthma.
Yeah.
But I think, unfortunately, we are, as horse people, we are so hyper-focused on the dust that's in the bedding.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We forget about all the rest, when in fact, there is a constant source of dust in outdoors. And why shouldn't this have an effect on sport horses as well as race horses? Because, race horses suck up dust too.
Right. Yeah.
Even trail horses suck up a lot of dust, because when you're the 5th horse in the trail line and there are 4 horses in front of you cruising along in dry weather, there's a lot of dust being kicked up by those hooves in front of you. And you're so close to those horses in front of you, you and your horse are both sucking it up. So
yeah,
that's it. I don't know what is to be done about it, other than making sure that your arenas are appropriately sprayed
and ventilated.
And that's the good point. Ventilation, fans, cross breezes, because a lot of indoor arenas, they're expensive to make, crazy expensive to build.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you tend to make it small. You tend to enclose it as much as your particular weather patterns would need. So
absolutely.
If you're in the Northeast, you're going to have one that's going to be completely enclosed, and maybe just have a couple of large doors, one at each end.
Mm-hmm.
So the air doesn't get to move around much. It just sits there and gets really stale, thus the mold and mildew and fungi. That's interesting. Ventilation. We need to have a ventilation expert on.
Well, the reason I mention it from a trainer, rider, and teacher, clinician point of view.
You spend a lot indoors.
I do. And I will tell you, even sometimes outside, and I will tell you, there are places that I truly dread going, because I know I'm going to feel dragged down, because it may start out nice and moist and wet, but by the 8th lesson, if I'm doing a clinic, gets really, dusty. And you start to feel it in your face, you feel it in your eyes, you feel it, in how you're breathing. Tigger, how many times have you gone home from a horse show? And I'm sure too, Jennifer, with you too, where you're like, oh my gosh, I've got the footing, the footing in my ear, in my nose, in my eyes.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so that has actually become a thing as I've gotten older, and I've realized, when I'm teaching, footing is just such a big deal to me. Tigger and I have ridden on some footing that I actually had at a farm that we were at. It's a coated polymer sand. And the arena that I had was a covered arena that I could close up the sides for the winter. And I can't tell you how many people would come to the arena, even with both sides open, and say, man, this stuff smells like wax or crayons or whatever. And you and I both know, Tigger, I don't know how affected you were by, but I could smell it every day. And that's saying a lot, that I would get away from it and then smell it every day. So I think that this is, and I don't know, I don't even, what do you do? I don't know what you do to fix any of this, but I just feel that ventilation is a big key to this. Having, the big ass fans and all that, I think is a great thing. But if you have those, because here in Texas, a lot of people have those. And I honestly, I've never been in Texas where that's not true. There's enclosed arenas, but even with that type of fans and stuff like that, all you're doing is moving around the same crappy stuff if it's not getting out. So,
yeah. And yes, that's a good point, in that a fan moves the air around, which makes it feel better on your skin, and maybe it feels better when you're breathing. But you're right. If you've got particulate in the air, all you're doing is moving around the particulate.
Recycling. Yeah. It's like,
so what's to be done about trying to keep that from getting into the air to begin with? That's a very interesting thought.
Yeah.
Because just because you can't see it, you can go into an arena and look and say, well, it doesn't look dusty in here. The air looks clear, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't tons and tons of allergens floating all about.
Right. And we know, and we know they are. They know they are. So interesting. Good topic.
I just want to mention that The blood samples for this study were taken from 138 horses.
It's a pretty good sized study.
So it's a really good sized study.
Yeah. And not from just one place.
No, from several different countries.
Really
yeah,
well run.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Good topic. Good topic.
All right. And now, to lighten the mood, it's Hedwig.
Hello.
Hi, Hetty.
Hi, Hetty.
Jennifer and Sigel and Hattie.
We're all here.
Gang's all here.
This is such wonderful news. I love 2 weeks in a row. I feel like I really get my say in,
And that's what we're always interested in, is your say.
I know you are.
Mm-hmm.
I know it. That's right. So what is my query for this evening? What's up, yo?
What's up, yo? So we were all wondering, because you travel about and you have so many things that you're exposed to, what would be your favorite music?
Sure, just give us 2 seconds and then we'll be able to pull over, okay? And then we won't be in the Loxahatchee dead zone, but we have to just get out of that dead zone before we stop.
Both paws on the wheel, Hedwig. Both paws on the wheel.
Yeah.
I have all the paws. All the paws are on the wheel. I do the driving in this family. She's a nitwit.
God bless her.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Sound fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, okay, so we're just lurking in the driveway of the Big Dog Ranch Rescue. Sort of funny, no? Oxymoronic or something. Ironic, maybe? I don't know, for I am a small dog and a rescue dog. All these things.
So music, Hetty.
In response to my music query, recently I've been listening to this most excellent string quartet, Ethel, which is named for the pirate's daughter. And you know we love pirates in this family. And they have a very wonderful record called Circus. And I like that one so much. So much. Yes, very interesting music. Also, you know I am a fan of the 80s music, but not when the human sings it, because then it hurts my beautiful ears. I don't know why she insists on singing, because she's terrible at it, whereas I am so gifted. I am a huge fan, of course, the Alison Krauss. Are you knowing this person? Very good music. We're going to go see her in concert. So exciting!
Oh, good.
I'm going to be seeing this person, and I do love her music. There's a wonderful song called Lucky One, and that is me, the lucky one. And then also, I am liking the music that is the big band music they play at night on the NPR when we're driving home from the barn endlessly because of the icing, which goes on and on and on late into the night. But then there's nice music on the way home, so that's always pleasant. So a variety of tunes please me. But, you know, I'm adaptable. I am not a big fan, I must confess, not a big fan of the rap. Or the country.
Of the rap.
Neither one. I don't like the rap so much. The hip hop, it's a little loud, you know, a little exciting for me. It doesn't go well. I tend to get excitable there. So better to stick with the Bruce Springsteen. Yes, the
right.
boss.
Well, that was a much more widespread answer than I thought we were going to go with. I thought it would be like Pet Shop Boys or something like that, but that was good. That was very good.
Thank you so much for
let the dogs
insulting my musical taste. The Pet Shop Boys? Really? Do you know me at all?
Apparently not. Apparently not. But now I do. Now I do.
Why don't you ask Tigger about the straight girl anthem that my human has to ride to? That's making her a little nauseous every time.
Oh, well, we'll have to talk about that later.
It's going to be a big pink triangle on that elf. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
okay,
Tiggy,
thanks, Hetty.
Yeah, Hetty. Thank you so much for such a great answer.
And keep your paws on the wheel.
Yeah, paws on the wheel. Look straight ahead.
Paws on the wheel.
Bye.
Bye, Hetty.
Bye.
So we're at the Tigapatopedia, and I wanted to talk about something called MDR-1, which is a multidrug resistance gene that is common in a lot of breeds that you don't actually know about. And how I found out about it was my good friend Tigger when I started looking at my first Aussie. And basically, in layman terms, it's a gene. It's a codes for a protein that's responsible for protecting the brain and by transporting harmful chemicals away. And so what happens is that there becomes a buildup of these chemicals in the brain because the body has this gene and doesn't kind of wash it away. And it's very common in a lot of kind of like the Australian Shepherd's a big one. The Collie is actually the number one breed. The vets have a saying that says white feet, no need to treat, which basically means that you can't treat it with one of the number one products is ivermectin. So anyway, Tigger being very fluent in Aussie, we both have had a little bit of experience with this. I have two Australian Shepherds, one which is MDR negative and one that is positive. And so, Tigger, how do you want to add to some of this? Because there's so much to cover in a little bit of time, but it's pretty interesting information.
Well, I first want to say that ivermectin, if you don't know what that is, that's used in heartworm medications. It's a common drug for worming horses. So these dogs that are affected by this gene, if they get an old syringe that you've just syringed your horse with, and they lick some of that ivermectin, they can get ataxia, seizures, or even die.
Mm-hmm.
Imodium, these dogs with this gene cannot get Imodium. Cyclosporin.
So Imodium being
for anti-diarrhea.
Yeah, anti-diarrhea. Right. I just want to make sure we said. Yeah, there's so many more drugs out there, Tigger, than I was aware of.
Me too. And what may cause a problem are things like morphine. They just don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the breeds that are affected are Australian Shepherd Collie, long-haired Whippet.
Whippet, yeah. Old English sheepdogs, border collies. And a vet that I spoke to and interviewed about it today, she said that she'd never really ever thought about German Shepherds, but it's on the list.
On the list.
Yeah, but the big thing...
And American White Shepherds.
Right. Again, they go by the white feet need to treat. Kind of interesting. So genetically...
But a German Shepherd doesn't have white feet.
Right. That's why, but again, it's on the list. And so That's why I think that's kind of one of those things, because I've had German Shepherds and never even knew about it. But one of the things that's also interesting is that if you go with any of the breeds that we've mentioned, you want to find out from the breeder, about the parents. And so, I went into this knowing that my one dog had the potential to have it. He's been tested and he does have the gene. And there's all sorts of research.
He's a carrier.
He's a carrier. Yes, yeah. He's a carrier. And that doesn't mean you don't buy the dog. That doesn't mean any of those things. And this is actually a very doable situation, mainly for any of the listeners that aren't around livestock or horses or stuff like that. It's really not as big of a deal, except for the fact that you need to know about some of the other drugs. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to say it right. I'm sure loperamide, which is the Imodium anti-diarrhea drug, acepromazine, which again, you probably wouldn't really run into unless you were dealing with horses.
And there are alternatives to ivermectin as heartworm medicine.
Absolutely.
So the good news is that you don't have to give HeartGuard. There are now alternatives.
Tons of alternatives.
To ivermectin for MDR-1 carriers.
Right.
Or
right. So one of the things that I was trying to find out is if I was listening to the show, okay, so I don't know if my border collie or collie or Aussie has
Sheltie,
Sheltie,
rough
yeah. If I don't,
collie, smooth collie, English Shepherd.
a lot of herding breeds.
Yeah.
A lot of herding. But like, so let's say you don't know if your dog has it and you are around a situation where, let's say you've gone to visit somebody that has a horse farm and they have ivermectin sitting out and they decide to, chew up the wormer. One of the things that you would start to look for clinically signs is they become ataxics, like you were saying, Tigger. They become neurologic. They could look a little drunk. They'll salivate a lot. Their pupils become dilated. And the number one thing is obviously get to your vet as soon as possible. But if you know that your dog's ingested something like that, you want to try to, either get them right to the vet or try to get them to throw it up. Try to get them get that out of their system. But I think for the most part, there's a lot of research out there. There's a lot of stuff out there, but it doesn't mean don't get a dog that has this, but you should certainly test for it. Because Tiggs, do you have any of your Aussies?
Yes.
Okay.
Kemosabe. He's a carrier.
Okay. Yeah. So again, I think the awareness of all of this is the biggest thing, and making sure that if you have any of the breeds that we've mentioned, and there's more to the list, but when you go to your vet, make sure that they're just not, there's an easy test. There's a swab test that you can do for it's between $55 and $60. You can do it in home. Just don't go when you go to the vet, make sure either ask about it, but just don't randomly, give ivermectin and do the test and make sure that you're informed, because if you're informed, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
That's for people. Lots of us have mixed breed dogs. And oftentimes what we are told the dog is, especially when you get them through shelters, that's just a wild guess by people who are looking at them as puppies. Mm-hmm. And that may be completely off track. So especially folks who have mixed breed dogs, it sounds like it would be a really smart idea to have them tested, just so that you can be 100% sure, because after they've gone ataxic, maybe a little too late. That's a small investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good information, ladies. Woohoo!
And now we're at Critter Nutrition, and we're going to talk about Omeprazole, which is a very popular treatment for horses with ulcers. Omeprazole is a medicine classified as a proton pump inhibitor, and its purpose is to block stomach acid production. Omeprazole is also known in the equine industry by its trade names, Gastrogard and UlcerGard. We may think of these products for horses interchangeably, yet the FDA has given approval for Gastrogard as a treatment for gastric ulcers and UlcerGard as a preventative for gastric ulcers. The difference between the two drugs is not simply price. Gastrogard provides 4 milligrams per kilogram of omeprazole, while UlcerGard contains 1 milligram per kilogram of omeprazole. Omeprazole has proven to be extremely effective in treating squamous ulcers, which are ulcers occurring in the upper 1/3 region of the stomach. However, omeprazole has not been effective in treating ulcers in the glandular portion of the stomach. The glandular region comprises 2/3 of the stomach area. According to an omeprazole study from 2015, as many as 36% of the glandular ulcers actually worsened over the 28 days of the studies without any association to the dose level. Omeprazole is capable of reducing hydrochloric acid in the stomach by up to 99%. While this action is beneficial for healing ulcers in the squamous portion, there are ramifications. Stomach acid is needed by horses to digest proteins. Stomach acid helps create a hostile environment so certain pathogenic bacteria cannot flourish. Stomach acid activates pepsin, an enzyme that breaks protein into amino acids. The suppression of digestive acids by omeprazole affects key mineral absorption of calcium and magnesium. A small digestibility trial by Kentucky Equine Research showed that 2 weeks of omeprazole administration decreased calcium digestibility by 20% for calcium carbonate and 15% for marine-derived seaweed calcium. Blocking stomach acid for a period of time can cause the body to increase production of stomach acid after omeprazole treatment. This can lead to heartburn and dyspepsia, which help to form new ulcers. A study on omeprazole published in the Journal of Equine Veterinary Science concluded oral administration of omeprazole in healthy equines interfered with the metabolism of digestive biomarkers of lipid, mineral, and protein metabolism, although the animals were treated for a maximum of 11 days. Horses treated with a proton pump inhibitor need to be evaluated regularly to avoid significant modification in their metabolic parameters. Remember that short-term use of omeprazole, 30 to 60 days, is less likely to be problematic than long-term use. Even with short-term omeprazole administration, ample amounts of calcium and magnesium must be supplied by either legume hay, alfalfa pellets and cubes, or a bioavailable mineral supplement. Ideally, an omeprazole dose should be given between feedings in order to maximize calcium and magnesium digestibility. Many competition horses are giving omeprazole every day in the management and prevention of ulcers. This is where omeprazole can become more problematic. Unfortunately, no long-term studies on omeprazole in horses have been published. However, studies on humans and long-term use of omeprazole have been. They have shown malabsorption consequences in regards to calcium and magnesium, increased infections such as Clostridium and pneumonia. Long-term proton pump inhibitor use in humans is associated with an increased risk of osteoporosis and decreased bone mineral density with a 35% increased risk of fracture. The researchers found that the risk increases with the duration of proton pump inhibitor use, even when the drug is taken at low doses. Some might brush the human studies aside as not relevant to horses. The GI tracts of both species, while similar, are also very different. Horses are hindgut fermenters, humans are not. However, humans and horses need stomach acid as part of the digestive process. Horses produce stomach acid all the time, not just when they eat. The act of chewing forage or hay increases the production of bicarbonate in the saliva, thus providing a natural buffering of the stomach acid. While research is ongoing, several studies indicate that omeprazole decreased the activation of both the osteoclasts, cells that break down bone, and osteoblasts, cells responsible for bone formation. Horses with navicular changes could be affected by the prolonged use of omeprazole. The thoroughbred industry is beginning to take a hard look at the long-term use of omeprazole, particularly as the drug can affect bone remodeling and bone density. The result of calcium loss from omeprazole, combined with administration of latex, may be large contributing factors to increased fracture rates in thoroughbred racehorses. 35% of the horse's body contains calcium. This important mineral is needed not only for bones and teeth, but also for muscle contraction, blood clotting, enzymatic functions, cell membrane functions. Magnesium plays important roles in nerve and muscle function. Along with calcium, it is one of the major minerals in bone. While calcium is critical for muscle contraction, magnesium is critical for muscle relaxation. Calcium is an important stomach acid buffer. But unlike omeprazole, it does not stop the production of stomach acid. When calcium buffers stomach acid, the body is still able to digest proteins and absorb minerals. Once a horse has been treated and healed with omeprazole for squamous ulcers, there is often a recurrence of ulcers. This is due to a phenomenon known as rebound acid hypersecretion. Body actually increases acid secretions after omeprazole treatment. The increase in acid can cause heartburn, acid regurgitation, and dyspepsia, leading to formation of new ulcers. Typically, the horse will resume treatment with omeprazole once again, restarting the cycle. Omeprazole is the go-to drug for gastric ulcers, as it has helped thousands of horses heal squamous ulcers. But are we overdoing it? Often we see signs of an ulcer in our horses and we start the GastroGuard without question. However, if the ulcer symptoms are from glandular portion of the stomach, GastroGuard will be ineffective. We give UlcerGuard when our horses compete to prevent ulcers from forming. Horses that compete frequently may be getting UlcerGuard for several weeks in a row. When the UlcerGuard is stopped for a few days between shows or for a few weeks, we may have raised the reoccurrence rate of ulcers because the omeprazole caused the body to hypersecrete more acid. Do we really want a preventative that blocks the absorption of calcium and magnesium and which affects digestion of proteins? We need to start questioning our possible overuse of omeprazole, particularly as a preventative. Ongoing research is showing that pectin and lecithin, combined with polysaccharides from medicinal mushrooms, help stabilize and protect the intestinal mucosa, including the glandular region of the stomach. There are other alternatives to keep in mind as well. Bioavailable calcium from alfalfa or algae or eggshell matrix can buffer stomach acid and help reduce the recurrence of squamous ulcers without stopping the production of acid. Dietary concentrates, such as feeds with high grain content and high NSC, these decrease the horse's production of saliva, therefore reducing the natural bicarbonate function. Switching to low NSC feeds can help reduce ulcer recurrence because sugars in high NSC feeds can be fermented into acid in the stomach, thereby increasing acid content. Aloe vera, particularly medical grade, can be a protective supplement for gastric ulcers. However, aloe vera has not been clinically shown to heal existing ulcers. Slippery elm bark contains polysaccharides similar to medicinal mushrooms and can be protective for the intestinal mucosa. Cabbage is a whole food source of the amino acid glutamine and may help promote intestinal mucosa healing. Dehydrated or freeze-dried cabbage is a better choice than fresh cabbage. Chia and flax are mucilagenic and high in omega-3s, which may help to reduce inflammation. Omeprazole is an important medication that needs to be used judiciously. Once active gastric ulcers are healed, it's possible to reduce recurrence with management and science-based supported foods and plants.
Real horses and real dogs are healthier, perform better, and recover more quickly on real food. That's why BioStar empowers horse and canine owners with 100% whole food nutrition, supplements, and feeding programs. BioStar products are made at their own certified non-GMO facility in Gordonsville, Virginia, using real fruit ingredients that are raw, freeze-dried, or dehydrated, never cooked, and are free from artificial flavors, colors, soy, corn, wheat, and molasses. The BioStar product line includes a wide range of whole food, horse and dog supplements, treats, and unique artisan poultices that embrace the ancient and traditional uses of clay and plants. Visit biostarus.com today and learn about whole foods and canine and equine nutrition so you can make the best decisions about the care and health of your horses and dogs. That's biostarus.com. Whole food nutrition the way nature intended.
Here we are at Coffee Clutch. It's our celebrity pet match, where we match the following celebrities with a pet. So the celebrities we've chosen are Brad Pitt, Snoop Dogg, Beyonce, Adele, and Dr. Phil. So I'm going to start with Brad Pitt, and I actually picked two things.
I did too.
Oh, good. I picked a sloth.
I did a sloth.
Well, yeah, because, you see his pictures of him with his kids and they have their arms around his neck. And I could see him. A sloth is so opposite him. They're very slow and gentle. And I could just see it with a sloth with his arms. His or her arms around his neck and he's holding them and they're moving very slowly. And I think he would get a kick out.
He kind of has sloth eyebrows. The angle, if you look carefully.
Didn't think about that at all.
And my other selection is a chinchilla. Because I can see a chinchilla sitting on his shoulder or on his head. I think he just would have an unusual pets. Patty?
Okay, well, I stuck mainly with dogs. And I was thinking it would have to be something that was, to me, like very chiseled and handsome. And one of them, I know you're going to agree with me, Tigger, hands down, would be an Australian Shepherd, because
that was an easy answer.
I know.
I don't see him with an Australian Shepherd at all.
No, but just just handsome or a boxer.
I thought of a boxer.
Okay. Yeah. Jen, what do you have?
Well, I came at this from a very different direction. I thought Tigger meant if Brad Pitt was an animal that is also a pet.
So did I. Okay, yeah.
That's what I thought she meant.
Yeah, me too.
Not what pet would Brad Pitt own. So
yeah, okay.
If Brad Pitt was a domesticated, he would have been a Malinois.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't.
I
Yeah.
can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there we go.
Okay.
So for Snoop Dogg, I had a parrot.
Interesting. Interesting, because if Snoop Dogg was a domesticated pet, I thought he would be a macaw.
Oh my God!
That's interesting.
And what dog would Snoop Dogg be?
Okay, I have two. I had a Chihuahua, just because if you actually Google Snoop Dogg and what he looks like as a dog, there is the funniest picture. It's really adorable. So a Chihuahua or a ferret.
I can totally buy into the Chihuahua.
Ferret.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so for Beyonce, I had a descented skunk.
Oh,
I totally. I get that.
I mean, can't you see one with a little collar of diamonds, taking it for a walk?
What's Pepe Le Pew's girlfriend's name?
Oh,
Gigi?
Gigi? Wasn't it Gigi?
I think it's Gigi.
Gigi.
Or Fifi.
Fifi. Right? Fifi.
Oh, Pepe Le Pew and Penelope.
Penelope. Okay.
Because his girlfriend's not really a skunk. It's a cat that he thinks is a skunk.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that in years. Okay.
What did you have, Patty?
I had two. I had a corgi because of the butt. Little like corgi pants, kind of.
For Beyonce?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No?
I'm having a hard time with that.
Yeah, because
I
she's
don't
just.
see it.
Well, yeah, but then totally. I like little corgi, cute little tiny, but whatever. Okay. Or a kangaroo. Somebody that like can really, I could see her like dancing around and nothing. Got nothing?
I got nothing on that one.
Okay. I totally.
Well, again, I was thinking if Beyonce was a domesticated pet, it sounds boring, but for me, she just had to be a cat. Just the cat that has everything, the quintessential, stereotypical
Siamese.
cat. Yeah, Siamese, perhaps. Yes. Or, but I could see her as a rag doll also. Something genuinely exotic.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Diamonds on her collar and fresh shrimp for dinner. Yeah.
Okay.
For Adele, I had a Maine Coon cat.
Good.
Oh, that's funny.
There you go.
I had Siamese because they sing. They sing so beautifully.
Okay. There you go. They do have quite the voice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm really, really off on left field on this one. Adele. I don't know anything about Adele. I know she's a singer. I looked at pictures of her and lop-eared bunny.
I love it. That's like perfect.
Oh, that's so funny.
Soft and cuddleable.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and dedicated. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's funny.
Yeah.
For Dr. Phil, I had a basset hound.
That's not surprising.
I had a Mexican hairless.
Appropriate.
Or a hippo.
Or hippo. Oh my. I went with iguana.
Okay.
If Dr. Phil was an animated character that was an animal, he would be an iguana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if this has stimulated your imagination, share it with us on Healthy Critters Radio Facebook page or send us a postcard. BioStar US, 1 Cleveland Street, Gordonsville, Virginia, 22942.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks to our sponsor, BioStar US. You can find them online at biostarus.com.
Get the Horse Radio Network phone app on iOS or Android by searching for Horse Radio Network in the App Store. It's free and easy to use.
For details about today's show, go to healthycrittersradio.com, where you can find links, photos, and more information about our guests.
As always, we love your feedback. Please follow us on Facebook under Healthy Critters Radio.
Be sure to visit all the great shows on Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Love your dog.
Hug your horse.
Feed your chickens.
Clean your litter box.
Dance with your goat.
Slither with your snakes.
Howl at the moon.
Hang with your hamster.
Party with your parrot.
Waddle with your walrus.
Outwit your otter.
Cuddle your cows.
Rap with your raptor.
Go chipping with your chipmunks.
Forgive your fox.
While hedging your hog.
We also recommend that you rack with your raccoon.
Gyrate with your giraffe.
Meditate with a meerkat.
Uber with your orangutan.
Facebook with your flamingo.
Ponder with your panda.
Walk with your Wookie.
Yawn with your yak.
Twitter with your toucan.
Go raining with your reindeer.
Dropbox your dragon.